Welcome to Heart, our chat with the cast and crew of When Calls the Heart. I'm Lori Pearson, an admin from Mobile, Alabama. And today I'm joined by a couple other Facebook admins.
Marg Stark from San Diego, California.
Jen Young from Seattle, Washington.
And our guest today first graced our TV screens on When Calls the Heart in season 1. She has given us the side eye, pearl clutching, gal pal, spilling the tea, taking no guff, wedding bells, and this season, even high stepping and entrepreneurialism. She's our beloved Florence Yost. Welcome, Loretta Walsh. We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. It's so lovely to be here.
So glad you're here with us. So we're just going to jump right in and talk about your performance last Sunday night. It was utterly breathtaking and heartbreaking all at once. I mean, it's overwhelming even for Hearties to think about returning to the horror of the coal mines after all of these seasons. And so walk us through it. Your first encounter with the script, seeing that you would be both quietly crying at that switchboard and then later on slapping Henry Gowan.
Yeah, I mean,
your thoughts.
I think I had initially heard about that script from Peter DeLuise, and then I had also heard about it from Erin because she had come to me and said, "Whoa, have you seen the latest scripts yet?" And I said, "I haven't. They haven't been sent to me yet." And she said, "Oh, there's this final scene where Florence like winds up and slaps Henry." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, so I was very curious about what was sort of getting me from the previous episode to that moment. And I think that, for Florence and Molly and for the people of the town, they've just gone through so much grief and so much healing, regarding losing their loved ones in those mines right at the beginning of season 1. And so it's very triggering, I think, to be confronted that there's a possibility that, first of all, it just feels like a betrayal because it feels like, money people are kind of saying that those lives didn't really matter, and so that's very personal. So there sort of feels like a sense of betrayal. But it's also the other thing of, hang on a second, this was not safe. Why would we send more people in there? So I think it's very emotional for Florence because I think it really triggers her grief. It triggers so much of her sadness and also her anger.
Yes.
At having fought so hard and having fought not only, you'll remember in season 2 when they went to court, to fight for those lives that were lost and to make sure that the mining company was held responsible, but also so much personal healing. It's kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off a gaping wound. There's been so much healing and putting her life back together personally and finding love again and finding purpose again and finding just such comfort in friendship and community and helping each other. And so I think I think triggering is the word.
Knocked back to all those feelings from all those years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, like opening up those feelings, and then also the fear of like, what are you doing? This is so negligent. And so I think it takes a lot for a very proper and etiquette-driven, upstanding member of the community,
Yes.
Florence, to allow her emotions to overcome her in such an impactful way. So I sort of had to figure out, how does she get there? And I think, my feeling was this: she's just living in her feelings. She's unable to be logical right now. She's unable to go, whoa, hang on a second. I'm feeling really triggered by this. She's not that person. She's just in her feelings and she's unable to contain them. So that's how big a deal, this whole situation is with the mines.
It did
Yeah,
feel
the
so
look
raw.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry,
It
I just
did
said it just felt so raw.
Yeah.
And the look on Johanna's face too, it was almost, it could have been either one of you to
Yeah.
slap him. I mean, I felt all of the rage that you felt together,
Totally.
and the trauma
Totally.
between you. So
Wow, that was an amazing scene, and it just must be so satisfying for you to have this role where you go from 1 minute in that crazy scene of Lucy and Ethel with the washing machine, and then such a dramatic moment not too long afterwards. So we have a hearty Heather Hood from Minneapolis asked, of all the moments you have gotten to explore as an actress in this show, which one was the most fulfilling?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I have been so blessed to get to play so many different notes with Florence. You know, I think that if you had told me in season 1, oh, you're going to do 9 seasons of this show, and by season 9 you're going to be singing and dancing, I would have said, what are you talking about? What planet are you on? Because so much has happened, you know, over the years. But I think there's some standout moments for me. I don't think that I can really narrow it down to one. I think that a really big moment for Florence was when she rediscovered that note from her husband that was in Laura's coat pocket. I think that was a real sort of beautiful moment.
I love that storyline. It's one of my favorites. It was beautiful.
And just it was almost like a bit of a new dawn for Florence in terms of like, oh, it's a reminder. It's a reminder you're loved and people do see the good in you, and you can laugh and you can still have that joy and happiness and laughter that your first husband just loved about you. And what a beautiful gift, you know, like a message from the other side. So I just love that scene. I thought that was such a beautiful moment and a beautiful idea. But you know, there's also the stuff with Fiona really seeing something in Florence and giving her a chance. You know, I think that's also just been a lovely idea for this character who, you know, people kind of laugh at and roll their eyes at. And, you know, when everybody knows a Florence, right? It's like, listen, your heart's in the right place, but you're exhausting. Like, you're just a bit much. And so I think for Fiona to say, you know, I know you actually, and I think, yes, I've heard that you like to talk, and I think that this could be a fantastic opportunity for you to use your skills as a communication expert and also, you know, learn some new things. I think that was really special for Florence too. But my big one is Florence and Molly, FloMo. You know, the scene before the Ned and Florence wedding, where Florence really pays tribute to Molly and just says, I am so grateful and I love you so much, and you have provided such extraordinary friendship to me. You mean everything to me. I just love that scene. And that's actually that sisterhood and that support of friendship that women have between each other. That's actually why I really wanted to do Lynn Calls the Heart. Because when I initially got the audition, it was about the women going into the mines together. And I had it in my head, I want to do something that's really female focused, that's about women supporting each other. And I really want, you know, to shine a light on how important those relationships are, because they're really your chosen sisters. And so when that came to me, I was like, oh, I think this might be it. I think this might be the thing that I've been really wanting to express. And it really was. It really was. So to have that scene in season 8, where I got to give words to that, which I think Elizabeth Stewart wrote that episode, was just mwah, beautiful.
Mhm.
I was just going to mention her because we talked to her earlier this season, and
Right.
we asked her kind of what her, everybody has a different gift in terms of what they write, and she said writing the sisterhood and the and the women's friendship stories are among her favorites. So I'm so glad that you guys got to marry your gifts and your desires to see that come to fruition. It's very cool.
Very cool.
Beautiful. In another one of our recaps, John Tinker said he would love to go home with Ned and Florence and see what they do at home at night. Like, what do you imagine? We would love to know. How do they? Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of invention and a lot of inventing going on.
It really is, and I think that they, I think they're probably creatures of routine. I think they're probably quite like the kind of people who control what they can control. Monday nights it's chicken and potatoes, and I think that there's probably certain things that they are very much on the same page about. But I think that they, I really like to think that Florence and Ned make each other laugh. I think that that's a really fun idea, that they're sort of very proper in public life, but when they're in their personal life, I like to think that they kind of make each other laugh, so that's sort of,
I'm sure they do.
imagine. And then yes, I think they probably have lots to talk about, to do with the store, to do with what Florence has heard on the phone, what Ned is inventing, though he seems to kind of keep his inventions quite private until he's ready to reveal.
All right.
Mhm.
But I think they probably also have a good old gossip.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they've got to be
everything
working
that's
on
going on in
those.
town.
Yes, they've got to be working on those interconnected words puzzles
Puzzles, that's right.
together. Yes.
Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. I've struggled
Maybe
with
we
it
could do
all season, so I
crossword.
have no idea how you got there, but yeah. And the other thing that John was saying about your characters is what a large vocabulary both of you have, the Yosts have. And I wonder, in terms of the writing, are there phrases or were there things, in scripts that come up that have really, struck you as fun, or do you like?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I've gotten to say some really funny things over the years, from inappropriate mustard to,
Love that one.
that music is quite provocative.
Wait, that what was very provocative?
The music from the saloon is quite.
Oh, yes.
So funny. But yes, sometimes I'm like, oh goodness, when I get the scripts. I mean, I think I had a line in this past season where I had to say the Valley Voice would do well to esteem a recurrent column on decorum. Holy, I had to work on that.
Oh, your tongue goes.
Holy. I was
Wow.
like, this is a lot of words, right? So, I mean,
Even for Florence.
yeah, it's sometimes they give me a real tongue twister. I'm like,
yeah, your cadence is probably not quite as fast as Pascal has to do with Rosemary, but it's pretty close, I would think. Very clipped. And
yeah,
and
there's
those
no meandering. It's
no,
to the
right.
point.
Mhm.
And very multi-syllabic, so it's like boom, 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 boom.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, and Pascal gets so much dialogue, and I think she's so brilliant. and she was doing Shakespeare, in the Halloween episode. And I'm just like, she's really wonderful.
From Shakespeare to Pig Latin, it all.
That's right. Oh, yeah, but she handles it. And
I'd like to see Flo. I'd like to see Flo try some Pig Latin. I think that'd be fun.
I was just thinking maybe we need to have Florence and Rosemary do Pig Latin lessons.
Sure. I'm up for that.
That would be very fun.
All right, I'm changing gears because Hearties love their weddings. And I was wondering if you imagined Florence getting married again, and did her wedding last season live up to the wedding that you would have imagined her to have?
Well, I think that for Florence, I think that she didn't think she was going to get married again. As the character, I think that she kind of shelved that and went, well, I had the love of my life. I had Paul, I had beautiful children, and now I'm moving into a different phase of my life, which is really about being service, to Hope Valley, and, living my best life. And so I think that the idea that romance was going to come a knocking on her door was a very big surprise. For me, Loretta, I totally wanted her to fall in love with him. I just thought it would be so funny for this character who's so put together and who is so in control as much as she can be, to be out of control with her emotions and out of control with her heart. I just thought, oh, there's such a possibility for vulnerability there, and also for comedy, because she would sort of be going, my feelings are snowballing and I'm unable to control them. And I think that really amusing things can happen when people are put into those kind of situations.
All right. Well, Anne Carroll, a fellow Queenslander, said she knows that you come from the Sunshine State and wonders how you cope with all of the severe heat and wet weather that you encounter, well, in season 9, but just being up in Vancouver anyways.
I gotta be honest, I don't. I really, holy, yes, it rains a lot here.
Yes, I'm in Seattle. I understand. Yeah.
And so one part of me is like, when I'm feeling really optimistic about it, I'm like, great. And if I don't have to go anywhere, I'm like, well, this is lovely. Just turn on the fire and cozy up and have some tea. I love to be all sort of snuggly. But the other part of me is like, are you kidding me? My hair. Like, what's the point of doing my hair? So you can imagine what it's like, on set when we're outside and we're just being covered by sort of big screens to prevent the water from going on us. Like, we have the easiest job in a sense, because we just sort of have to try and make sure we don't get wet and ruin our costumes. But the hair people, they constantly have to be making everybody's hair look great, and makeup, and the crew, making sure that we don't get drenched, and that the cameras don't get wet and the lighting doesn't get wet. So it does add an extra element of challenge before. But man, we have such an incredible team of people that work on When Calls the Heart. If anybody can get it done, I really have faith in that crew and in that group. I really do. They consistently are extraordinary at their jobs. It's really a wonderful, wonderful place to work.
We're talking with Jill and Pam next week, I think.
Oh,
so we're going to hear all about the hair and how they manage the hair in Vancouver. I mean, my goodness, that's a challenge.
A lot.
Our feisty, I can't even say it today. Our feisty Flo, we just love her, and she has remained such a champion for her bestie Molly. I mean, FloMo. Who doesn't love FloMo? So, could you ever imagine getting into a kerfuffle and having to resolve your differences the way, say, Rosemary and Elizabeth did this year? And what do you think might cause the problem for them to fall out?
Yes, I mean, that's a great question. I hadn't really imagined them getting into conflict conflict in such a way. They've sort of been through so much together.
Mhm.
And I think that,
I can imagine it.
yeah, I think the beautiful thing about Florence and Molly is that with all of the friendships on this show, I mean, talk about dynamic duos. There's so
Mhm.
many duos on this show that have incredible chemistry and that have really just such interesting and dynamic relationships. I think that these two women really know each other, and I think that having been friends for a really long time, and also, not being 19 anymore, not that there's anything wrong with 19-year-olds, but having, some wisdom and some age, I think that they very much are of the mind that what you want is what I want for you. So, but I mean, it would be kind of funny because they can get into a bit of a snit. I mean, Florence especially, she can get her feathers like really ruffled about something, and she'll pick that to be the thing that that hill that she's gonna die on. So there's nothing to say that there wouldn't be a time where they are divided on an issue.
Well, it could be just a misunderstanding that
Yes. And they have a
causes.
relationship, I mean, it's so funny when Molly thought that the fiery redhead in Elizabeth's book was her.
So good.
And Florence was just going, you have got to stop. This is not about you, Molly. You are overreacting. Like, so they can talk to each other like that. So there's so much love there that it would have to be something really significant, I think. For them to
You tend to go down the crazy train together, or even if you don't, like, when she was saying the Jezebel line at the bar to Bill Avery, and you just like diverted her right out. You really
Don't do this.
each other. Yes.
What are you doing? Stop sabotaging yourself. It's funny with that relationship, like it's kind of like such a sign of intimacy that you can say to your really good friends, what are you doing right now? I love you so much, and I say this with so much love, but you got to stop. Like there's really, that takes a really strong friendship.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, to save your friend from themselves is a pretty big, that's a tall order. That does take some intimacy.
Yes, it does.
I love it.
But never say never. You just don't know with those birds. Like anything could happen.
Exactly. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. Whatever, wherever it takes them. If we get a season 10, so I'm here for it. Yes.
Well, you have already shown us so many wonderful expressions of Florence. You have gifted us with those already. And Linda Wright from Colorado, she just loves those expressions. And she thinks Florence's looks convey so much. So she wonders, do those just come to you naturally, or are they the result of acting lessons over the years, or rehearsing to get just the right look?
Oh, that's just my face. That's just my face.
Oh.
I mean, I think, I don't know. It's
you crawl into Florence and it just happens, huh?
The hair, it's the makeup, it's the corset, it's the costumes, it's the words, it's all of it. And I guess it's also really leaning into how outraged, Florence is going to be about something, right? So, and no, I guess she's just that person who I think is not very good at hiding her feelings. So they show up on her face.
Yes.
No poker face.
She doesn't have a great poker face. No. I think she's had to learn to be very professional when it comes to the phone. She takes her job very seriously. But I think she doesn't have a great poker face. If she doesn't like somebody, or if she has a really strong opinion about something, you're going to know what it is.
I mean, we saw it right away with Elizabeth when Elizabeth first came to town. Princess and everything. So
yes, right away.
Yeah.
Well, because she was like, you were meant to be here 2 days ago. Where have you been? You know, she's not going to mince words. No.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't have to suck in your cheeks like through the whole 9 seasons, you know, that you got to open up a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, Kathy Dinmore of Barrie, Ontario says, what is the most important area of growth Florence has experienced over the course of 9 seasons?
That's such a good question.
Isn't that cool? Hearties ask the best questions. They really do.
That's a really good question, because I think there's multiple places. But I think just in general, there's been a softening to Florence. You know, my original idea of Florence was that, oh, this woman is in so much pain,
Yes.
and she's very prickly because of it. You know, it's kind of like, you know, if you meet someone who's in chronic pain all the time, sometimes they're really cranky with good reason. So her pain wasn't physical, but it was emotional. And so I just thought, I see what's going on here. So rather than falling apart and being really vulnerable and wearing her heart on her sleeve and saying, I am not coping and I don't feel good right now, she made the choice to be tough and to be prickly and sort of controlling and to judge other people, you know, because it felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the big thing is that we've just seen such a softening and an opening of Florence.
Yes.
And the meaning of Florence is to bloom, right? The name Florence means to bloom. And so I think she's been blooming over these seasons. I think we've just had a chance to really see her vulnerability and her heart. You know, she does actually wear her heart on her sleeve. And when she trusts you, she's going to be loyal to you forever. And she's had to learn some lessons, right? About boundaries and about not gossiping and about keeping secrets and being trustworthy. And she's made mistakes, you know, so there's been so much growth.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Yes, she's definitely judging less than she did in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think, listen, and I think it's her instinct at times.
Yes.
You know, to go, what are you doing? You know, that really annoys me. I think Ned is also very good for her, because he is probably the person with his way can say, Flo, easy does it.
Yes.
All gonna be okay. So there's no need to get so upset.
So in your live chat with Deidre last, I guess it was the other day, you observed that Ned looks to Flo for her opinion first before she makes decisions. And so, you know, of course, we're all on board for happy wife, happy life. But I just wondered, was that something that you and Rothgar worked out for yourselves, or was that something that, you know, like it's in the looks that the two of you have, or was it something really the writers have created, or maybe it's some combination?
That is the brilliance of Rothgar Matthews. He brought that to the table. And we really like to talk about our scenes. Like, we really like to work on it and go, okay, well, hang on a second. Well, so what happened that led us to here? Okay, well, you know, like we're really into it. We could have our own flow
spin-off
behind the scenes, you know, because we like to improvise a lot. And so he really put that idea to the table, and I was like, I'm totally on board for that. I think that that's so great, you know, that he kind of looks to her like, well, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think? But if Flo goes, then he's going to say, well, no, we can't, you know, we're going to be a united front, right? But, you know, I think that also, like, Florence probably, you know, would check in with Ned too. You know, I'm not sure if there was a big decision that she would make it alone. You know, like we saw with, you know, when Elizabeth needed a babysitter. You know, and she says, listen, I'm thinking of going over there and taking care of little Jack. And he says, well, we can't really do that because someone's going to be over there. And I'm like, oh, you're totally right. So I think they, you know,
There's an exchange there. Yes.
I don't think it's a complete dynamic that Florence is in charge and she wears the pants, and I don't think it is that, and he's all meek.
No.
Yeah, whatever my
It
wife
doesn't feel
says.
that way.
I
Yes.
don't think it's that. I think that there is real mutual respect, and I think it's a really healthy and loving relationship. But I think it's really fun. And he's like, Flo, I don't want to answer for both of us. Let's be on the same page before. Yes, what she says. I think that's kind of fun.
So Joelle Stevens Jordan of Michigan asks, which castmate causes you to break character the most? Or is there someone who just makes you crack up all the time?
You know what? I mean, there's so many funny people on the show, really.
Your Rothgar is hysterical.
Rothgar's so funny. He's really, really funny. But I don't know what it is with us. We sort of have this agreement, like, I'm not going to laugh. Like, I'm not going to. We're going to be very serious, so we might laugh in between takes. But I think Ben Rosenbaum is so funny.
Oh.
I just love that guy. I just think he's got such a big heart, and he's so generous and so kind. But I think Ben is really funny. I think he's really good. And then Gustav as well. He's so
he's stealing so many scenes. It's fantastic.
These little zingers.
And just knowing Carl, like, behind the scenes as well, it's just so delightful. We just get to play, but I really try not to to break character too much, because I don't want to get in trouble. And
Right.
also, I just know, I mean, it's just like the little girl in me, which is like, don't get in trouble, don't be the one who ruins the take, but also I know that if I open that door, I'm in real trouble, because once I start laughing, oh no, then I'm in the background like this, silently laughing.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be good, right? So I try and keep it closed, because I know myself.
Yes, the church pew giggles where you just can't stop.
Totally. Or what are they doing in the background? They're just laughing into their teeth, and so it's like, try and keep things on track.
Well, we have to tell you, when we asked the Hearties for their questions in our Facebook group, there were so many people that had a lot of questions, but there were so many people that were just like, I don't have a question, but I just love her so much, and we love FloMo, and there was a lot of love for you on the Facebook page, for sure.
That's so lovely.
So what is it like for you to have been in the lives of these fans for 9 seasons now?
It's been extraordinary.
Yeah.
It really has been. And especially, I mean, now I'm overwhelmed with how many people are Hearties. But it was really special in the very beginning, when season 1 started to air and Twitter was a thing, and people would contact you and say, I just want to say, like, how much this show means to me, and thank you for your work, and blah blah blah. I just found it so moving and so touching, and I remember my first birthday, like my birthday, and I received like cards and all of these things in the mail, and then just so much love online. And I think somebody had asked the question, like, obviously Loretta's a different person than Florence, but if you had some advice for Florence, what would you want to say to her? And the things that people were expressing to me about love and hope and community and hanging in there and, finding happiness again. And I really was so, like, truly moved by it. I because I felt like they weren't just talking to Florence, they were also talking to me. And so it's so interesting to be a part of something that can feel so intimate, but is also so massive. I'm just so incredibly thankful. And, for the most part, people are so generous and so kind. And, with everything that is going on in this crazy upside down world of ours, it's such a lovely community and a lovely place to be, where people are really loving with each other, and the relationships that I've developed, with my castmates and the people that I've had the opportunity to meet because of When Calls the Heart has really been just such an incredible gift to me, and I know just so many other people.
I remember you at HFR1, and you were just so generous and so gracious to everybody. Thank you. That was wonderful. That was that moment I still remember.
It's
wonderful.
It's my pleasure. We're all in this life together, right? So, just like Florence cross-stitched, we are all connected. May we always be connected. We are in some way, and so it's lovely that this show is a connection, for so many of us.
So true. Well, you've been doing a lot of flow tonight, but after this dramatic episode, we are feeling every bit of Florence's anticipation for the developments that are going to happen in these last 2 episodes of season 9. Mm-hmm. So could you please get in character for a moment, pin up your hair, and tell us in Flo's vernacular why we need to plug into Hallmark Channel, to that Hallmark Channel switchboard for the spectacular moments yet to come these next 2 Sunday nights.
Let me tell you something. You are not going to want to miss what is coming your way in these next 2 episodes. Don't just take it from me. You don't want to hear it from me. You're going to want to experience it for yourself. If you think that season 9 has had a lot of action, just wait. There is so much happening these last 2 episodes. You're not going to believe it. Meet me back here to talk about it next week, okay?
Bravo.
Oh my goodness.
I was right there. I was right there.
Okay. We got to put that out there as an ad. That's wonderful.
So good.
Okay. So when we extended the invitation to start doing these Heart to Hearts, you were the first one to respond and offer to meet with us. And
is that right?
You were, yeah.
It's because I'm a mom, and I'm like, I have to answer these emails immediately, otherwise I will forget.
Absolutely. But we can't thank you enough for it, and we appreciate it so much.
My pleasure.
And Hearties, Loretta's going to light up our screen on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock on the Hallmark Channel, and we can't wait to see you there and on Twitter using the hashtag Hearties.
Yay! Thank you so much.